Morning, Dr. Webb. Today's Reflect and Connect is on the Frank Wickes article, titled A Veteran Teacher's Thoughts, which is on his thoughts on running rehearsal. Really enjoyed this article. It seemed very experience-based, and, we talk a lot about research in class and what works and what doesn't and scientific stuff and all that sort of thing, but I thought this is like a real world, just another reading from another, experienced teacher. It was a good read. His philosophy is that rehearsal is collaborative. It's a team. Everyone should show up and function together, and the more they work together and strive for excellence, the better the result will be. Usually he likes to do a warm-up, with less experienced players. If there's more experienced players, they don't do a big warm-up because, they're mature enough to do that already. But he would definitely tune and at least find a good pitch center and get everyone centered. He likes the warm-up period because it gets your ear going and it gets people listening to each other. And in the realm of ear training, when he was growing up, he said that they didn't focus a lot on singing. I found the same thing for me going up all through orchestra. We didn't have a whole lot of singing until I got to senior year of high school, but now in college it's all we do. It's like you have to be able to sing through everything, and I think that's important, for starting off now. Focusing on singing really helps your ear being able to hear the pitches. Goals of rehearsal. He would always publish a weekly rehearsal list so that they know what was going to be rehearsed on each day. And that lets them ideally look through the piece and rehearse tricky spots before that day comes. He mentions he wants to create special moments called peak experiences when their best playing occurs. There's a lot of frustration with our pieces, but make those moments where the students enjoy what is going on. I often find that I get these moments in orchestra, like a week or so before the concert, when finally things start to come together and playing the piece actually starts to feel special. I admit I do get frustrated in rehearsal sometimes when things don't come together, there's difficulty, but usually during the dress rehearsal, things come together and I'm like, wow, that is special. Talks about score study and, studying through the piece, understanding instruments and how the piece is held together, studying the composer, other pieces that they've written. Ingesting a score, being able to read through it, prepare, just knowing it. Your attitude, providing support. He states that your attitude towards those that participate and provide support for your program contribute as much 90% of the program's success. So the attitude of the program and the people with that attitude. If you have people that are showing up and are willing to work, they're going to lead to success. He also says a positive attitude is reflected in the condition of your office, library, and equipment rooms, and the band room. A clean band room, I think, often reflects the state of its band. A cluttered office probably reflects a disorganized teacher. A cluttered band room reflects a disorganized band, or maybe undisciplined. That was one thing in high school. I found that when we got a new band director, he completely reorganized the whole band room and refiled all the music and made sure everything was organized the way he wanted it, and it made a difference, because I feel like he wanted things more organized. Then he talks a lot about his philosophy on tone, intonation, and things like that. He believes the tone of the band should be homogeneous, but the sound should be true and characteristic of the instruments. Intonation concerns never go away. Sometimes it relies on you, the conductor, to point it out, but also the players have to fix things. He just states you have to listen critically at all times. Addressing pitch issues. You can work through things differently, have players play solo or together. You don't want to embarrass anyone, but you want to make sure that the balance is good. Rhythm, he mentions he started with the 1-eanda, 2-eanda. But he switched to the 1-ta-ti, 1-lali, 2-lali thing. That's cool. I personally like the 1-eanda, but that's just me. Technique. Building technique begins in the first elementary lessons. This is what we talk about in class. You gotta make sure their posture is good right from the beginning before you even get to anything. Like the basics have to be there, or else the whole foundation is gonzo. And then he talks a little bit about his philosophy on scales. They should learn all those scales by 10th grade. Minor scales, major scales, things you can do with the scales. Balance, he says that's an easier thing to fix with the correct instrumentation. And he motions with his hands to adjust certain notes. He talks about 8 general dynamic levels, and we talk about that in orchestra too. And then at the end, he talks about structure, how he likes to run through things, and then developing as a teacher. He says there's some things you can't learn by a lecture, some things you have to experience with a band to conduct, and experience is difficult to achieve. And I think just as someone who's going to be a teacher, it's taking as much as we can from school and practical experience and applying that to our first job, and then just showing up each day ready to learn and taking everything that we go through and applying it to the next day to become our best teacher. Thanks.